Welcome back to Disney Disasters, the show where I put my mind, body, and general sanity on the line in the interest of reviewing and critiquing every Disney Channel original movie. Today's disaster is a fresh one, as we take a look at the most recent DCOM, Freaky Friday. Let's start the damage control. Now I know what some of you may be thinking. Freaky Friday wasn't a Disney Channel original movie from 2018, it was a movie from 2000 and something with Lindsey Lohan and Jamie Lee Curtis. Well, in actuality, there's been about 4 Freaky Friday movies over the years, plus a stage show and a book. So this is where reviewing the Freaky Friday 2018 version gets complicated for me. You see, the version from the early 2000s that a lot of people are familiar with, I loved it growing up. It wasn't like my favorite childhood movie or anything, but I come from a big family, and we used to rent this movie every few months and all watch it together. So going into Freaky Friday, it was going to be hard not to judge it against the quote-unquote classic that I'd viewed many times. Will this new adaptation hold up? Will it do something different or just retread the same ground? I guess we'll find out as we jump into Freaky Friday. Freaky Friday is about a mother and daughter who have issues getting along, magically switching bodies and literally having to walk a mile in each other's shoes for a day. Specifically, Friday. In this version, we've got a mildly messy and lazy teenage girl and an ambitious, overbearing, and somewhat controlling soon-to-be-married mother. So yeah, you can pretty much see where this one's going. However, right off the bat, there are some surprises in store. You see, this particular adaptation is based off the stage show, meaning it's a musical. I'll talk more about the music later, but for right now I do want to say this does make the predictable storyline go a lot smoother. It's a lot easier to swallow a predictable storyline with somewhat more basic characters when it's a musical, cause musicals are all about showing big emotions and big characters and not really going into depth with those characters. Other than the fact it's a musical, there are some subtle changes in this version that I do like. See, in the early 2000s version, while the mother was still getting married, the daughter's main story was focused around her rock band and a big show they were meant to play. So, in the climax, the mother, still magically trapped in the daughter's body, has to get up on stage and be a rock star. The parallel they were clearly going for here is the mother needs to let go and let her hair down while the daughter needs to take some responsibility. However, in this new version they do that same idea, but a little bit differently. Before the Freaky Friday switch, the daughter is involved in a high school graduation tradition called the Hunt. The Hunt is basically a scavenger hunt for shitty teenagers. It involves collecting a bunch of dumb shit and doing a bunch of dumb teenage things before you can be crowned the winner. Meaning while the daughter trapped in the mother's body has to make wedding plans and connect with her family, the mother trapped in the daughter's body has a literal list of teenage antics she has to get up to. The parallels are pretty obvious here, but it's a not so subtle change that makes the character arcs a bit more obvious, which in a movie musical is a good thing. So we have a very obvious in-your-face musical storyline with very clear character arcs for both our mother and daughter characters. Let's jump over to actors and characters and see if they can pull it off. Going in, I knew the actors would be make or break on this one, because a teenage girl acting like a 40-something-year-old woman and a 40-something-year-old woman acting like a teenage girl could either be very funny or very not funny, and they pull it off. The mother's actress does have a few bad, awkward moments, but she's solid most of the time. The daughter character, who the mother has to act like for half the movie, is kind of a slobby modern teen, so she just kinda bumbles around doing dumb shit until she realizes adults have responsibilities. The actress playing the daughter, however, very much impressed me with her acting. After the body swap and the mother is supposedly in her body, she really did feel like a 40-year-old mother in a teenage girl's body, rather than a teenage girl acting like a 40-year-old woman in a teenage girl's body, which is an important distinction. There's also a lot of subtle things about how the actors play their roles after the swap. Their body language, their posture, the way they react to certain things, just things that show that the director put some thought into this rather than just saying, okay, you act like her now. The supporting cast is also very strong. Standouts being love interest boy who plays both a very realistic and likable teenage boy. It's hard to make likable and realistic teenage boy go together, but he does it. The characters are very simple, but it's a musical, so that's to be expected. The fun of the movie is how they show the simple concept with real human emotions, and because both actresses play their parts well and have good mother-daughter chemistry, it works. Right now we have simple but effective emotions, good characters, and two character arcs that perfectly mirror each other, and a lot of clever things on the part of the writers and directors. This sounds like a shoo-in for the top spot in the Disney Disasters lineup. Well, hold on there. We've got one more thing to look at, and it is not exactly a positive. As I mentioned, this Freaky Friday is a musical, and the music is not great. Honestly, there are some pretty okay songs in here. I Got This and Just One Day being the ones that stick out in my head as pretty good. I was also impressed by the choreography. Some of the bigger dance numbers were very good. However, my issue with it is, it just doesn't work in the movie. Yes, Freaky Friday does have a supernatural element with its whole body switching story, but the story is at its strongest when it's showing the relationship between the mother and daughter. However, instead of giving us nice, quiet, emotional scenes of sudden realization or character growth, we always end up getting a song. Sure, using a song in place of quiet character moments is musical 101, however, the songs in Freaky Friday just are not strong enough to pull this off. Because the songs all have a similar sound and feel to it, they really do not carry the emotional moments, and since they don't, that means Freaky Friday is a movie with very few emotional moments. And that really hurts this movie, because the whole point of Freaky Friday is showing the growth between the mother and daughter as they learn to live with each other. The character growth is there, and this movie really would have worked if it had some quiet emotional moments to tie it together, but instead it's bogged down by poorly implemented musical elements. It's a shame too, because if the music was stronger, or if they'd just removed the music entirely and made it a bit more serious, this would have been a really fine film. But it isn't, and the movie is worse off for it. On to final thoughts. While it may have sounded like I got a bit negative towards the end there, I did have fun with Freaky Friday. A lot more than I was expecting to going in. It's a little bit unpolished at times, but it's different enough from the early 2000s version that I really had fun comparing the two. From what I've heard, the early 2000s Freaky Friday movie was very popular, so I'd say if you have some time to kill and you're interested, maybe check out this new version. You'll probably get a kick out of it. As for the actual quality of the movie though, it is just okay. It's got some good moments, some not so good moments, and a fair bit of missed opportunity in there. It never devolves into straight up bad or boring, which is a lot more than I can say for some of the Disney disasters I've watched. As for where it ends up on the ranking order, I think I'm gonna have to put it just above Xenon. Xenon was a fine sci-fi kids flick, but Freaky Friday edges it out in story, character, acting, and pretty much every major category. So that's Freaky Friday, a movie that could have been great, but just falls on good enough. It's a shame, but believe me, it could have been a lot worse. And I'll see you guys next month to see if we can find that worse on the next Disney Disasters.